AMC had a very strong day today, up well over 1%, and this is obviously a great sign. 95% of the time throughout all of 2021 on green closes, so green Fridays, you have a green Monday as well. So it looks like we're going to set up for a substantial green day on Monday as well, considering this move in after hours as well. That is looking very good, but I want to go over the technical analysis, give you guys a reference on what is important to pay attention to, what is not important to pay attention to, and why I do think next week will be bullish, as well as go over the Stocko tracker data, and that is obviously going over the options and the Ortex data, as well as some 13F filings that are still coming out today. And on top of that, I do want to touch and talk about Fed Jerome Powell's renomination and some dangers that could come for the marketplace that could certainly affect AMC as well. So drop that like on the video, consider subscribing to the channel, and as always, check out the sponsor of this video, which is Moomoo. When you click on the link in the description, it will bring you to my referral page. Get 5 free stocks when you open a brokerage account and deposit said amount. More details on that in the description with that link. So check that out. Let's get into this video, guys. So AMC was up 1.14% to close out regular trading. Currently in after hours, up 0.32%. So we're definitely seeing a strong close to this week, and we're seeing a strong close to after hours as well, which is a key indicator leading into the next day. Obviously, if you're up with AMC in the after hours period on Friday, you tend to be up coming on Monday, and quite substantially up on Mondays, and that's from about 95% of the time throughout 2021. So that is very important. That's the first thing that I want to point out. But as far as the technical analysis, some people were saying that I don't break it down how other people do, and I think people take technicals way too seriously. Not in the sense of they don't matter, but not everything does matter. So if you're looking at the daily candlestick chart, the only things that I really like to look at is the 100-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, and the 200-day moving average, because these tend to be support and resistance levels. Now, where is the 50 and the 100-day moving average currently sitting at? Take a look at this. They are on top of each other at $39.86 per share. This is where we have this level marked at $40 per share. So this is serving as a support level at the current moment, and this was a bit of a resistance level. Once we fell under this, you guys can see right here. So that is another thing that is leading me to believe we're going to see a bullish rally next week. The fact that we stayed above the 50 and the 100-day moving average, and we're above that critical support level at about $40 per share. So right there was a great sign, and I think a lot of people miss the easy stuff. And just to say, this is not a technical trade. Technicals have went against us so many times. There's only a couple key things that I am even interested at the current moment. Obviously, whenever catalysts happen, that is a great thing. That can send buying power and shorting power into this stock. But the main two things I am concerned about, or three things I should say, is number one, the volume. What kind of volume are we seeing on any given day? We are seeing incredibly low volume over the past really about 2 months now, with today's volume being 20.3 million. And if you want to gauge the sense of bullish or bearish activity, if you have low volume like this and you're seeing the price going up like we've seen today, almost 1.5%, that is showing you guys people are not selling their shares. You're not seeing shorts covering because it's such low volume. If that was the case, you'd see a much bigger pop. But what this probably is hedging that is happening by the market makers. Now, don't let me get too far off topic. The other things that I'm concerned about are the shorts covering. Have they covered? And right now, like I said, it plays into what I just talked about with the low volume. You can tell if the shorts are covering based off of the volume and the price action to the upside. Same thing with the downside. If we have low volume and the stock is cratering, like the day after earnings fell 11% with less than 30 million in volume, that is deliberately telling you guys that there's a lot of shorting with the stock. And finally, I want to see like I said, if shorts have covered and the option activity, as long as we have a lot of option activity, we are seeing traders, and this will help support AMC's current price and to help bring this up even more over time. So a lot of the technicals people talk about are just not very important. It literally looks like a wave right here. Even when you're looking at a beautiful breakout technical setup, it doesn't always happen that way, and usually it doesn't happen that way. You just really want to gauge the market sentiment, the volume, are shorts covering, are shorts shorting the stock, and what is going on with the option activity. And everything that we are going to talk about in this video, as far as those things are concerned, are very bullish, because you want to see low volume heading into a volume spike when you will get that price move to the upside. You don't want to see high volume and then get more volume coming into the stock. That means you're probably at the higher moments. Back here, when we had 200 million for volume, 300 million for volume, take a look at this day right here. 225 million for volume, went straight up, came straight back down. You want to see the volume continuously start to increase. But when that volume is not in the stock, like I said, you want to see the stock holding up these prices and remaining above our support levels, which we are doing right now at the $40 support. But if you were to get a little bit deeper into technicals, you guys can see that the trend line here is obviously very bullish. As long as we stay above 40, it's incredibly bullish, and we are getting ready for another rally. And like I said, with the option chain, we're going to take a look at that right now. We did see a lot of contracts, 265,000 that expired out of the money. In the money contracts at 28,352. So a lot of these contracts, especially at the $40 strike, is what I wanted to see at least expire in the money with some value. That means that market makers were having to hedge for the 40, well, all the strikes on the chain less than 40, but we did have a lot of open interest at that $40 strike. Unfortunately, a lot of contracts expired out of the money, like what typically happens when market makers are doing their pinning strategies to keep specifically AMC in a certain range by expiration. So that is a great sign. Stayed above 40, seeing a lot of these in the money calls be fully hedged for today. Probably a reason why we did rally as well. Now, take this into consideration. The next big week for options is going to be December 17th, and this is just around the corner. Do not sleep on this, guys. This is only about 28 days away, and we're already looking at almost 35,000 calls that are in the money and 212,500 calls that are out of the money. By the time this rolls around, you're going to see all, well, not all, I shouldn't say that, a majority of this open interest be rolled over into the December options or the December expiration. So by the time this comes around, we're going to see big numbers yet again. We're overall going to see some volatility in the marketplace over the next couple of months. We may get the Santa Claus rally, which we're going to go over in a video tomorrow. That's going to be incredibly important that you guys do watch that video. So the situation here does look incredibly bullish. About 110,000 contracts that are out of the money for next week, and only about 7,600 that are in the money for next week. We know with a lot of volatility, if FOMO buyers come into the stock, that will push the stock up. More people will buy the options. I'm not going to bag on that. I am basically thinking that we're going to see a bullish reaction next week. As Thanksgiving does come around, people tend to get more bullish about the Santa Claus rally, and you do see some of those options that are already in the money be hedged for. Mix that with low volume, and you are going to see a bullish reaction. But as always, guys, I am not a financial advisor, just like about 99% of other finance YouTubers per se, if that's what you want to call them. So always come to your own conclusions. Do not take anybody's word for anything. You can have wide-ranging opinions. Do not base any trades based off of what people say. If you like the stock and you want to buy and hold alongside the rest of us, feel free to do that. But I am not saying to go out and YOLO options based off of any of this information. Be smart, protect your money at all costs. Now, let's talk about the Ortex data, because we are getting these BS estimates of 15.57% short interest of free float. So Ortex is estimating since October 29th, the short interest has went down over 3.1%. And just off of the price action we have seen back and forth, shorting, covering, I don't think that is the case. I think we're pretty close to 18.5%. Like I said in other videos, probably 18% is that range that I would expect. So once we do get the exchange reported short interest data in about another week, we will know a better representation of where the short interest is actually at. But for right now, the estimate is 15.57%. Estimated current shares that are still sold short of about 80 million. Now put this into reference with the volume that we are seeing on any given day. So today, like I said, 20.3 million for volume. This has to be scaring the short sellers, because if you have 80 million shares that are sold short with 20 million in volume, it's very hard to get out of your positions. And like I am saying, with low volume, once volume comes into the stock, whether it's FOMO buyers, whether it's shorts covering, whether it's a gamma squeeze, you will see big increases in the share price. And if shorts do want to cover from now until the volume picks up, it's going to be very hard to do so, and they will make a big impact on the price of the stock. So essentially, the days to cover is going through the roof. That's another reasoning why AMC is just primed for a short squeeze. This is something analysts had talked about for a long time when AMC was going through these multiple different rallies, was saying, hey, the days to cover is so low, how are you going to see a short squeeze? And you cannot make that claim anymore. With the days to cover was at 2.66 days to cover. Today was 4 days to cover. If all these shares wanted to be sold short based off of the volume that we've seen on the day, that would be 4 days of volume to cover all of these shares. That is an incredible, unprecedented amount. Now, share utilization is going down yet again at 75.76%. Shares out on loan, 88.13 million, and the free flow out on loan at 17.18%. So share utilization going down, meaning there is a decent amount of shares that still can be sold short. As well as that, guys, let's move on to the 13F filings, and we are getting a couple filings that are now coming out as the deadline is approaching to get these out. And we're seeing Bank of New York Mellon Corp that has increased their position by 30.15%, and they do own 2.3 million shares. So incredibly bullish activity here. Only one firm, Duche, DWS Variable Series 1, DWS Global Small Cap, VIP Class A, they did reduce their shares by almost 25%, but pretty much all these other firms are increasing their positions or holding on to their positions in general. We have went over this many times. The buy to sell ratio with AMC is comparable to Q1 2021 with about $750 million worth that has been bought, and only about $30 million worth of AMC that has been sold throughout the last quarter. So that's really what you guys need to know. No recognizable names that are very important here, but still good to see that bullish activity overall. Now, something else to point out is two things. Some dangers that could come to the markets is all of this talk about Europe locking down because of COVID again. And there's a lot of articles about this. Specifically earlier, there was a ton of articles about this. Even the main headline right here: stocks struggle on Friday after Austria lockdown, but tech shares post winning week. So that's something to watch out for. If we do see a resurgence in cases in Europe or in other places, or here, who's to say, you know, that couldn't happen again? That is something to watch out for. It could give people some of, you know, the jitters and what could happen, just cause a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in general. And other than that, Fed Jerome Powell was expected to be either renominated or have Brainard be nominated today, but Biden is going through a colonoscopy, I believe, today, so that's probably why that did not happen. I will expect some news on that over the weekend or coming on Monday, but you know, we'll just wait and see what that happens. It could definitely have an impact in the overall markets, and obviously AMC is a part of the market, so I would watch for that, any potential downside related to that. If this gets brushed off, if Jerome Powell is renominated, I do expect some upside to come from that as well. So take this information with a grain of salt. Do what you guys want to do with it. This is the due diligence that you need to know if you are an ape and if you are a part of this community. So hit that like button for me, consider subscribing to the channel, and as always, check out the links in the description if you want to support the channel or get all the free stock your heart desires, or get access to all of my trades in real time. Chat with me one-on-one if that's what you want to do as well. Link in the description for the buy and sell alerts if you guys want to be a part of that program. So that's going to be all. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.